What's up, New York Mets Nation? The Bat Fry, Kenny Fry here. And on today's episode of the Bat Cave, we'll be talking about Steve Cohen pulling the trigger and signing Juan Soto and what that looks like, what that means, and what it could mean, and all this good stuff. And I'll talk about this, that, and the other. My thoughts and opinions on it, and good, bad, or indifferent. So stay tuned. I'll be back in 50 seconds. What's up, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry, and I hope everybody out there in New York Mets land is doing A-OK today. I know I am. So let's just get right into it. I'm not going to mess around. Last night, I was waiting all day yesterday, and just for the news to break, because I was feeling like it was going to come yesterday. I was thinking yesterday early evening. I was thinking like 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at the latest. And that's when I was kind of waiting. I figured I'd hop on here real quick before I go to work and kind of get it out there and talk about it real quick and, hit it while the burner's hot. Well, it happened right when I was going to work. So there we go. That's how it happens. So that's, uh, that's the bummer of it, but that's also, it's what happens. You work night shift, you're bound to miss some things. And, it's a bummer, but next time I'll break some news. How about that? The next big signing. Hopefully, I'm awake and I am not at work, and I can just break the news and be all excited with everybody else, or bummed out with everybody else. We'll talk about that here in 1 second. I got a couple comments coming through here. We got Jonathan checking. What's up, Jonathan? I hope you're doing well today, buddy. He said today I woke up and felt like Elon Musk. This is my new life: winning morning, day, and night. There you go, buddy. You are now Jonathan Elon Musk Shancup. I hope I'm saying you're right. Is it Scan Cup or I'm going to go with Shan Cup? That's what I'm going to go with. Philly's scared. They're going to run it back, and that's one of the things you have to look at. How do the Braves answer? How do the Phillies answer? How do these other National League teams answer? How do the Cubs answer? Brewers. I don't think the Dodgers really need to answer, but how do the Dodgers answer? The Padres. What do they do to kind of say, okay, this is what the Mets are doing. This is what the Dodgers. This is what they're doing. We need to answer somehow. And you look at some of those names that are still out there in free agency. Could one of those big names be the next shoe to drop? Pitching wise, pitching or otherwise. I don't know. The Phillies, they've been known as big spenders in the past. This year doesn't seem like they're really connected all that much with big spending. Now there's been a whole lot of trade talks out there with Alec Boehm and I believe Nick Castellanos and guys like that. So I don't know what has legs and what doesn't have legs for the Phillies, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they do kind of tuck tail this year and kind of ramp up for next year. That's I don't count the Phillies out. I don't count the Braves out for anything. If the Phillies are going to spend, the Braves aren't going to spend, but they're really smart with their well, actually, I shouldn't even say the Braves aren't going to spend. Braves spend, but they spend wisely and usually in house. And it seems like they build from the ground up, and they keep those guys around that are worth keeping around. So we'll see what happens with the Phillies, see how they answer, and the Braves, same thing with them, see how they answer to the Mets ringing that bell, banging that gong. We got the Back It Up Binge podcast. What's up, Back It Up Binge podcast? Congrats, Mets and Mets fans, and thanks for getting Soto out of the AL East. It's an Orioles fan there. You are welcome. And and here's the one thing that I looked at that I talked to a couple Mets fans last night at work. I'm here in Eastern Pennsylvania, so we are surrounded by Philadelphia Phillies fans, and of course, there's always Yankees fans everywhere, but absolutely surrounded by Phillies fans. So I have Mets fans, but we all kind of you know run around in the darkness together here, without getting berated all at once by Phillies fans. But so here's the one thing I said to my fellow Mets fan, and me with being um a Pete Alonso fan, I said this is where I think this is what I think is going to happen. I think Pete Alonso will now be a Yankee. I think it seems to make sense to me. The next logical thing, almost logical thing to do would be to go out there and sign Pete Alonso for the Yankees now that they lost Juan Soto. Now, Juan Soto and Pete Alonso are not the same type of hitter. Pete brings a lot more power. And I guess you can say, barring last year, brings about the same amount of run production. Again, barring last year, but throughout career-wise since 2019, Pete has offered more power, more run producing, uh, but obviously on base, slug, batting average, OPS has gone to Juan Soto. The dude, he's a stud at the plate, and I can't even deny that. And I'll talk about my feelings about this signing here in a couple minutes. But so now, I think Pete Alonso is going to end up going to the Bronx. But and my other thought is, do the Yankees look at Anthony Santander next from the Orioles? An Orioles fan here. What are the Orioles going to do with Santander? Are they going to bring him back? Are they going to try to re-sign him? And does he not want to go back to Baltimore? I'm not really sure. I don't know any dirt sheet or any kind of information on Anthony Santander. I just know that if the Mets would have fell out of the race for Juan Soto or did not get Juan Soto, uh, I do believe that a viable option would have been Santander. Based on last year's stats, again, I didn't really deep dive into Santander's stats. What his career looks like, or anything like that. He's a young fella, but besides that, don't really know. I know he had 40 plus homers last year. That's all I know about Santander. Plays right field, uh, power hitter. So is that where the Yankees go now? Uh, would he be interested in going to the Bronx? I mean, I guess it comes down to is money. You're going to be you'll go where the money is more than likely. But we'll have to wait to see what the next shoe to drop is going to be. If it's going to be Santander, is it going to be Pete Alonso, and where it's going to be. And like I said, I think the next logical spot is the Bronx. And if the Mets aren't going to re-sign Pete, which I really have a hard time seeing this happen now, with the Mets putting out there for Juan Soto 15 years, $765 million, $51 million a year. And you know what? And so when you see these numbers, they're huge. They're enormous. They're scary. Just gigantic numbers. 15 years, $765 million. Jiminy crickets, right? That's a lot of money. But I guess I seen somebody, I don't know, I wish I remember who it was, who I see. I believe it was on X. I seen somebody break it down to kind of like what Aaron Judge is making. And I don't know Aaron Judge's exact um, contract, but for instance here, he signed with the Yankees. It might have been 6 years, $380 million, and it's again, I'm not 100% sure. So he's making 53 million a year. Let's just say. Well, if you extend that out, to 12 years, that's 700 some million dollars. 712, $715 million, and it kind of makes almost okay. Well, that's just like the Juan Soto deal here, and Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. Are they comparable? I'd say fairly comparable. Hitting for a high average, they do have pop, and Aaron Judge a lot more pop uh, than what uh, than what pretty much almost anybody has. To be honest with you, and so when you look at some of it like that, the 15 years, 765 isn't as bad as it looks. because of because of Juan Soto's age. He's 26 years old, right? So in 15 years, that puts him at 41. Now, do I expect him to play till he's 41? Probably not, but you don't know. Players are playing longer nowadays. It seems like players that they take care of their bodies very well, and they're playing longer. So is it conceivable that he can play till he's 41? Absolutely. Is it conceivable to expect him to produce at the rate he's producing till he's 41? Absolutely not. So there's going to be a fall off, and you have to figure the last 4 or 5 years. There's going to be a fall off. So you're going to have 10 years of $510 million of Juan Soto, where it's primo Juan Soto. And tell you what, the Mets better make it count. They better make it count. And the way you're going to make it count, they're going to have to surround him. They're going to have to surround him with more talent, and in order to compete with the Dodgers, like the way that this team's constructed right now, this team is good enough to win a World Series. Absolutely, right now. And that's even with the pitching being kind of shaky. There's enough offense in this team where it probably could overcome any kind of pitching. But if you add the Dodgers into the mix, well, all right. Now we need to do a little bit more. We need to get better starting pitching as well. And with that, again, $765 million contract. What kind of money is Steve Cohen going to go out there and pay now in starting pitching? And I talked about this on Saturday night. That I don't think if they sign Juan Soto, I don't think they're going top tier pitching. I think they're going the same as they did last season, which I'm fine with it if it works. If it works like last year, I'm totally 100% behind the Mets doing what they did last year with the starting pitching. Short-term deals, team-friendly deals, prove-it type deals, and the guys prove it, and it's perfect. It's beautiful. Like I mentioned last year, all of our starting pitchers last year pitched to a sub-4 ERA, which is awesome. That's fantastic. So, and then they're going to have to, again, first base. What do we do? What do we do at first base? Is it going to be Pete Alonso? Are they gonna still try to bring him back? Is it going to be somebody else like maybe like Christian Walker or whatever? I don't know. I'm still pulling for Pete Alonso. I have many different reasons why I'm still pulling for Pete Alonso, selfish and otherwise, and which I've gotten into here before. I'm not going to really get into it too much again because it's kind of redundant. It doesn't really matter anyway. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Jonathan says, better moment, Alonso home run versus the Brewers, the National League wild card, or Juan Soto sighting. Oh, easily for me, easily the Alonso home run. Just because you were so down and out. Like, I don't know if there's any Mets fan that actually felt like you were out of the Juan Soto signing, of Juan Soto arms race. You hear this, you hear that, but you knew Steve Cohen was going to put out the most money no matter what. That's all you've been hearing. And so basically, it was in Juan Soto's court. What was he going to do? Was he going to go for the money, or was he going for something else? And the Pete Alonso home run, we were down and out. We were down to our last licks, and we were going home early. We were going home in the wild card again. Another disappointing year for the most part. Yeah, again, I predicted the Mets this past season to win between 82 and 85 games, be in wild card contention, even possibly make the wild card, but still above 500 and play well. And they played above that. So I mean, no matter what would have happened, I think you can still look at the season as a success. But Pete Alonso hitting that home run in Milwaukee was just another level. And again, I remember where I was at and stuff like that. Because I remember watching the game being so when I was at home watching the game when he dropped that pop fly, and I had to go to work then, and I knew who was coming up. Lindor and the top of the lineup and stuff like that. Like, we get a couple guys on for Pete. Maybe Pete will get another shot to kind of redeem himself. But I had to go to work. I couldn't wait any longer. I was at that last minute, and I was just pulling up to a red light when Pete hit the home run, and I just remember just screaming in my truck, like pumping my fist and yelling, and it was. I remember that. That's probably something I'll never forget, and I'm very forgetful. If you've ever seen one of my shows, I forget a lot of things. So that's probably something I'll never forget. So it's definitely gonna. I think, and I would think probably for most Mets fans, it should be the Pete Alonso home run. But the Juan Soto signing is going to be memorable for a different reason, a moment in itself. But and again, it's all going to come down to, are the Mets able to cash in on a World Series? Is this going to get them a World Series? How soon is this going to get them a World Series? How patient are Mets fans going to be with this signing if it doesn't lead to a World Series in the first couple seasons? I mean, like you could look at the next, next season, 2025, and say we should be winning a World Series that year, or we should be at the very least guaranteed NLCS bound or World Series bound next year. And if we're not, is that a failure? I mean, like, you can reasonably look at that and say, if we're not there, it's a failure. If we don't win it, it's a failure. And how long before, if we don't win it in 5 years, if we don't win it in, 6, 7, 8 years, how long before, like, hey, this is a disaster. This wasn't worth it, kind of deal. And what kind of patience are we going to have with this? What if Juan Soto comes out next year and he plays like he did in 2022 for the Padres and for the Nationals? He hit two. I have the stats right here. Give me 1 second here to pull it up. It was like 240 something. He hit with the Nationals and the Padres. He hit 242 on base, still 401. It's absolutely insane. 401 on base and a 452 slug and 853 OPS, and 27 home runs, 62 RBIs, and 21 of those home runs came with the Nationals. So, I mean, are we going to have the patience? I don't know. I mean, I'm a patient fella. I look at the positives of it. So that I'm not the one that I'm worried about. But there's one thing that gets under my skin is impatience, hastened impatience. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. If anybody understands what I'm trying to get at there, like when people get in when people or fans get impatient too quickly with something, and that's one thing I don't like, and that gets under my skin. Give it time. You got to give stuff time to gel. You got to give stuff time to coagulate. Guys, that never played in a certain ballpark or never played, in a certain city size. You see that a lot of times where guys going from a small market team to a large market team, and they drown because they just can't either handle the pressure of playing in that large city, that large market, whether it's media or fan base. Fan base, they're all constantly up your ass, uh, or media up your ass a different way, I guess. So it's like they just get the patience of it. I feel like I'm a patient guy with it. I am fine if it takes 2, 3, as long as it brings a World Series. And I know we're not looking just at a World Series; we're looking at multiple World Series. That's what we want. And again, it's a step in the right direction. He was the best free agent available. Is he better than Shohei Ohtani? Like I mentioned here, I talked about this on my podcast, a few times. I don't think so, but I'm sure he is in different ways. I'm sure his on base percentage is better than Shohei Ohtani's. Slug, it has to be Shohei Ohtani. Power has to be Shohei Ohtani. Speed, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, I don't know, but he got more money than Shohei, I believe. I could be wrong about that. I don't remember exactly what Shohei Ohtani's uh, contract was. I feel, for some reason, I feel like it was 660, but I could be wrong there. Jonathan says, I hope Eileen is not mad. We love her. We always love Eileen. Absolutely. And she is upset. She is crying. And there's a crying emoji to go for it. Eileen, I am sorry. And she's cursing the Mets. Eileen, don't damn the Mets. Come on, Eileen. But, and again, you know, do the Yankees turn and do they go Anthony Santander and Pete Alonso? I mean, those two together, that's Juan Soto, money wise, probably. So I don't know. I'm still, like I said, I'm still counting on the Mets bringing Pete Alonso back, but they got to I think the number one priority for the Mets are right now at this moment is to finish this pitching rotation and then look beyond that. I mean, as much as I love Pete Alonso, and again, my favorite current player, but it is what it is. I'm a Mets fan first, um, and then a Pete Alonso fan. So, Eileen, it will get better. You're a Yankees fan. You have 10 million World Series championships, so go lay down with them and cuddle up to them. We don't have that many. Jonathan said Steve Cohen doesn't know the OPS stats of his artwork. And yeah, it's the thing. The OPS is what really pushes Juan Soto into another stratosphere than any other baseball player in the league. His on base percentage is ridiculous. You know, the way he gets on base, whether it's walks or just base hits or what have you, he gets on base. And this is one of the things that really makes me nervous about the Mets. It really is what's one of the biggest bugaboos, what's one of the biggest thorns that have been in the Mets side over these last few seasons is hitting with runners in scoring position. So if we're going to have somebody on our team getting on base at a crazy clip here, 435 or whatever, his career on base percentage is 421. That's his career on base percentage is 421. So you have somebody getting on base that often, all right, with walks, singles, doubles, extra base hits, whatever it is, however he's getting on base. Do we have that person to knock him in? Do we? I don't know. Let's see how they set the lineup up. You're gonna have to have somebody after him that's super reliable with the bat. And my first thought you throw out there Pete Alonso, but again, I'm going to be biased now, or I'm going to be non-biased. I think that's the right one, non-biased. Is Pete Alonso that reliant with the bat to produce at that clip? Where somebody's getting on base in front of you that often. I don't know. I don't have the full confidence that Pete can knock Soto in enough times to make it count. Pete's going to get his RBIs. Absolutely. He's going to get his RBIs. This year, again, Pete's worst year for run production, throwing out 2020 season, COVID season and all. Can he produce? Can he hit with runners in scoring position if you brought him back? I don't have that full confidence, in Pete. And I want to. I really do. We've seen him do it. He's had 140, 150 RBI. Can he do it again? And can he do it over multiple years? I'm not sure. Could it be Mark Vientos? Do we have that kind of confidence that Mark Vientos can do that? Somebody's constantly getting on in front of him. Is he able to advance that runner? Is he able to knock that runner in? I don't know. Francisco Lindor hit so well in that number one spot. You have to leave him there, right? You can't pull him out of there. Where does Juan Soto hit in the lineup? Does he hit 4? Does he hit 5? Does he hit 2? You have Lindor getting on base, and Juan Soto, getting on base. Now all of a sudden you have two guys getting on base for for Vientos. Is it for Jeff McNeil for whatever? Who the hell knows? I don't know. I don't know. Brandon Nimmo. I just don't know who we have reliable enough to consistently drive Juan Soto in as he's getting on base at the clip that he gets on base. Jonathan believes that Soto dumped the Yankees because Judge can't hit in the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know if that's a factor or not, Jonathan. It may very well be. It may very well be just that there was the money. The Yankees reportedly offered Aaron Judge 16 years, $760 million. Again, 5 years or $5 million less than what the Mets offered. 1 year more, so that's going to be a lower AAV. And but I don't know what kind of deferrals or deferments or whatever the hell you want to call them. We're in the Yankee contract. I know with the Mets, there's nothing. It's straight up, $51 million a year, and that's what we're going off of. So from everything I heard, anyway, so far. So I don't know. But the one thing that did make me kind of curious was I didn't know this until just a few days ago was Juan Soto being a Red Sox fan growing up. So maybe that's why Juan Soto didn't want to be a Yankee. But I mean he did sign with the Yankees in the offseason. So I mean like it's right. Did he sign or did he get traded to the Yankees? I don't know now. I don't remember. I feel like he was. I think he was traded from the Padres to the Yankees because he wasn't going to re-sign with the Padres. They want to get something in return. I could be wrong about that. I don't remember exactly now. But I mean, him being a Red Sox fan, that makes total sense. If you're a Yankees fan, you know, right? You know, like I here, and as a Mets fan, here's one for you. If there's any Phillies fans watching, Chase Utley would never be a Met because he was a Philly. He hates the Mets because he was a Philly. So I mean, not quite the same thing, but almost like the same thing. I just think him being a Red Sox fan, maybe does that have something to do with it? I don't know. But it is something to think about. It really is. That rivalry is deep seated and hate filled. And I used to love watching it back before the Red Sox won a couple World Series because it seemed like it was more intense back then before they got that monkey off their back, the curse of the Bambino and stuff like that. It always added a little bit of extra allure to it, but once that was gone, it's kind of just another game now. Pete didn't drop the pop fly in game three. The fan pushed the net, and the net pushed the ball away from Alonso. Video evidence exists on YouTube. And then, I seen that video evidence, Jonathan, and I agree 100%. But I never heard anything about it from media. You know what I mean? I never heard ESPN or CBS or Fox or whoever come out and say Alonso dropped that ball, but there was fan interference that wasn't called by the umpire. Because I seen the same video you saw. I'm like, how do they not call that? That should be fan interference pushing against the net. You know what I mean? I seen the same exact thing. So I'm like, I don't trust too many things that I see anymore because of AI, because of the technology that we have now, where anything can be made up. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's mind boggling what technology can do now and what people have at their fingertips. I think that was made up? No, I don't. But why was it not more widely talked about? Was it because of the outcome of the game? I don't know. Does it add more more of an aura about it? It does add, is there more of an aura about it if it's just that okay, Pete dropped the ball, but then he hits the game winning home run, the go ahead home run in the ninth inning? Would it be the same allure to it if it was, well, some fan pushed the net in front of Pete, so he didn't catch the ball, but then he hit a home run? I don't know. I'm not really sure. But I seen the same video you saw, and I just wondered why it was never made a bigger deal than in what it should have been. I said I just don't think Soto wanted to be here for some reason. I'm telling you, it's because he's a Red Sox fan. That's what I think. And he was traded from the Padres to the Yankees. It's after I said it, Eileen. After I said signed with the Yankees, I'm like, oh, I think he was traded because he was not going to re-sign with the Padres. We gave up Michael King, Higgy, and a few others. Anybody, I guess we'll have to see over the next couple seasons if it's anybody worth any kind of salt. So a couple more stats here on Juan Soto. Last season against left-handed pitchers, he had 278, 13 home runs, 42 RBIs, a 416 on base, a 550 slug, 966 OPS, 42 walks, 27 strikeouts. That's 180 at bats. That's unbelievable. In more than twice the amount of at bats to 396 at bats versus right-handed pitching. He hit 293, 28 home runs, 67 RBI, 421 on base, 578 slug, 999 OPS, 87 walks, 92 strikeouts, and 35 games at Citi Field. He's played mostly with the Nationals from 2018 to 2022. He has an OPS of 1.175, 12 home runs, 26 RBIs, and a 333 batting average. He hits well in New York, so We got our boy Eddie Prather checking in. What's up, Eddie? So the Yankees shouldn't spend money this offseason. Shouldn't spend money this offseason. Eddie, they were a couple games away from winning a World Series, man. I don't know. They got I think what is Garrett Cole a free agent? Eileen, I don't know. No one worth spending money on. Alonso and his 245 batting average can suck it. And so Eddie, there's today nowadays in baseball, it's different than what it was years ago. Like, and I'm a big batting average guy. I hate the 245 batting average. I like Juan Soto's career batting average 285. That's where I think a good slugger should be hitting. Anywhere from 275 to 285. That's where I think a good slugger should be hitting. But now in today's baseball, it's all about launch angles and and then swinging like with that exaggerated uppercut to get the lift on the ball. So that leads to lower batting average because it leads to more pop ups. It leads to swings and misses as well, and a higher whiff rates and all that good stuff. So a 245 batting average for a good slugger, that's actually pretty decent. That's actually pretty decent. I mean, you look at Christian Walker, and that's not that far off for Christian Walker, and another first baseman that people consider to be a top-notch first baseman, defensively and offensively. But the one thing I look at Pete is he does walk, a decent amount. That he does not walk Juan Soto amount. Nobody walks the amount that Juan Soto walks, which is it's absolutely insane. The amount that guy walks. When I was comparing stats to some other guys, and I don't remember exactly what it was. It's a few weeks ago. I was doing some of the big name free agents and comparing their stats, and just I'm like it can't be that big of a difference. I was looking like, holy Christ, this guy's walking, almost twice the amount of what a lot of these guys are walking. But Pete Alonso still does get on base a decent amount. He's hitting 245 or 240, but he's still getting on base at a 320, 330 clip. So that's still pretty good. I mean, you put him up to Juan Soto's average. You raise Pete's average up 40 points, and then you raise his on base percentage up 40 points, and he's closing in on Juan Soto type rates. And then home run wise, last year a down year, and a down year for Pete Alonso last year power wise was 33 home runs. I mean, that's a down year for somebody. That's amazing. Now that's his first down year. Now what happens next year? Does he go in 2025 and have another down year where he's hitting 30 home runs or he's hitting 27 home runs? Now that's a little bit more concerning. Now if he comes back next season, he hits 45 home runs, 48 home runs, 49 home runs, whatever, and he's producing back at a 125 RBI, 130 RBI clip, back to the old Pete Alonso. Well, then that's what you want. That's what you're looking for. Okay, that bounce back season from having that rough season where a large part of the season he looked very lost at the plate. Just could not hit that pitch down and away, whether it was a sweeper, slider, cutter, whatever the hell it was going to be. Down and away was his bugaboo, and everybody knew it. Eileen says he had an opt-out deal, but he decided not to. Okay. And I guess that pretty much tied the Padres' hand there. They you got to get something for the guy. Homers are worthless. I don't know. Homers are worth something. That I think that's a run. Now run on the board. I mean, that's kind of how the Mets beat the Braves to get into the playoffs. That's how the Mets beat the uh, the Brewers to advance in the playoffs. That's kind of how they put the Phillies away in the playoffs to advance to the NLCS. I don't know. They are worth something. So Alonso is trash, and I'll disagree, Eddie. But agree to disagree there. So I guess that's just what we'll have to do about that. I'm not going to change your mind, and I'm not going to try to change your mind because that's just I have no reason to. Give Ben Rice the job, see what he can do. I don't even know who Ben Rice is. Walks are worthless. Walks are not worthless. That's men on base, Eddie. Eddie, those are men on base. Those are guys that can score then. We either with a home run, which are worthless in your estimation here, or with base hits, moving guys around. In order to win games, you need people on base. People on base, walks, base hits, they mean something. If they didn't mean something, then Daniel Vogelbach would have never, ever gotten a job. So Alonso is also the wrong end of 30. He's 30, 31. So past 30, just barely past 30. Braves choke. Braves suck. That's all that is. Eddie, they didn't choke. They suck. They were overrated, and they got exposed by the Mets. So they're at the end of the season. And then they go to the playoffs. They got exposed even further, and I do believe that next year they will be exposed even further, Eddie. There will be no chopping in Atlanta. Better get used to the basement, Eddie. We'll leave the light on for you, buddy. As we're coming out of the basement, climbing to the top for the next 20, 25 years, the Braves will be down in the basement, and they'll see how everybody else has lived in the past 20, 30, 40 years, however long the Braves have been at the top. So you better get used to that view, Eddie. Looking up. Stretch that neck, Eddie. Look up. You'll be looking up at the Mets for a while. For a long time, Eddie. You'll be looking up at the Mets. Don't bring back Torres. I assume I guess Gleyber Torres is a free agent. I don't know if the Yankees will bring him back or not. That remains to be seen. What they plan on doing there. So again, my final thoughts on this before I go ahead and hit the sack. With the Mets signing Juan Soto, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm a Mets fan first and foremost, no matter what. I'm always a Mets fan. I'll always be a Mets fan, no matter what happens. I know it's a huge signing in Mets history. It really is, and there's no denying that. He's one of the best players, top 3, top 4 players in the league. Absolutely, no doubt about it, 100%. It might be Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, regular season wise, Aaron Judge, then Juan Soto. And you could even argue Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. You can even argue that, but I think you're just nitpicking at that point with those two. But for that kind of money, I think a lot of my uneasiness is either going to be heightened or extinguished over these next few weeks to see what else the Mets do in free agency. Are they able to finish this roster off with some more talent, some more high-end talent, whether it's, again, Pete Alonso or Christian Walker or whoever that's going to help this team win. And what are they going to do with the starting pitching? Are they going to continue going the route that they're going with almost like reclamation projects, guys looking to reinvent themselves? Are they going to continue going that route? Or are they going to go after, the big names? Are they going to go out there and go after Corbin Burns, Max Fried, or whoever else is out there? Or are they going to make a trade? Or are there trades now in the works? That's another thing. Are they going to go out there and look at Jesus Christ, Luis Castillo up in Seattle, Garrett Crochet in Chicago, or who knows who else? I mean, I see Nate Eovaldi's name being thrown out there as the next free agent target the Mets will be keep putting their eye on for starting pitching. And that's somebody I talked about the other day. But I just don't think I have really hard time seeing with them signing Juan and Soto, them going after any of the top flight pitchers. I really feel like that we're going to see more. We're going to see Nate Eovaldi, and I think it's going to be a trade. I really do. I think it's going to be a trade where it's almost like you're getting a rental. I don't know what's left on Luis Castillo's contract. I don't know what's left on Garrett Crochet's contract. I know Garrett Crochet's a younger guy, and I think Luis Castillo. I could be wrong. I did look this up a couple, I think 2 weeks ago when I was talking about it. I believe he's in his early mid 30s, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe he's late 20s. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I did talk about it a couple of weeks ago here on the Bat Cave. So that's what gives me the most concern, the most pause right now about this just gigantic contract. But I think in the long run, I think it's going to be worth it. I really do. I think it's going to be worth it. And again, for selfish reasons, I still hope they bring back Pete Alonso. Like, goddamn, I just finally got my first New York Mets authentic jersey. It was a City Connect jersey, Pete Alonso on the back. And I said to my wife, I said, I love it. She got it for me for my birthday. So I love it. I said, I hope to God the man resigns now so I can wear it, continue wearing it. No matter what, I'm going to continue wearing it because, it's a nice jersey. I love the City Connect jerseys. And I also have a blue Pete Alonso jersey. So I do have a white Lindor coming in, so hopefully he doesn't get traded away over the next so many years. But it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Nimmo, Lindor, Juan Soto, Mark Vientos, Francisco Alvarez. I feel like he's gonna bounce back just fine. That's your core right there. Uh, if the Mets don't bring back Pete Alonso, and I think that's still a really really great lineup, and we'll see what happens. All right. So before I head out of here, I'm going to go ahead and read off our sponsor. That's Jason Fine, attorney, Big Al. You reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And he has 2 offices in Pennsylvania, one in Philadelphia, located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. And he has an office in Pittsburgh, located on 500 Grand Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. And be sure to mention Out of the Box Sports Entertainment sent you, and he'll hook you up with a great deal. And then for me, if you'd like to help me out, I'd appreciate it very much. Head on over to Dubby Energy Drink. That's www.dubby.gg. Use the promo code The Batcave off your order to get 10% off. I'd appreciate it very much. They got some great energy drinks there. They got stuff that's already made, in cans, and they also have stuff that's powdered, so you can make it yourself whenever you looking for that extra kick. I know I think it's W's more geared toward gamers. It seems like a lot of the stuff that I've seen, it's more geared towards gamers. I've used it at work a couple times. 1 a.m. I'm on break. They're starting to hit the dregs a little bit. I'm like, oh man, I need a pick me up. So I'll get a scoop of the flavor that I have right now is mango orange cream. Very good flavor. I'll throw a scoop of that in about 20 ounces of water. It says 16 ounces of water. I like mine watered down a little bit. That's who I am. I do that with iced tea powders. I do that with like any kind of. I used to get the 4C iced tea mix, half and half. I'd water that down pretty tough. I'd drink half it and I'd water it down some more. I'm just a watered down kind of guy, I guess. I don't know what it is. But good stuff. They have a bunch of different flavors, energy drinks. They have hydration flavors as well, kind of almost like a liquid IV. It's a jitterless energy drink. So if you're one of those people that get the heart palpitations from coffee or from a Monster or a Red Bull or whatever your energy drink of choice is, this doesn't happen. That doesn't happen with this product here with Dubby. It's jitterless. It's all natural, good stuff. So check them out, give them a shot, give them a try. And that once again is www.dubby.gg. And once again, that promo code, all one word, is the Bat Cave. Remember, all one word. And that's for 10% off your order. Be sure to check us out at Out of the Box Sports at OOT Box Sports on YouTube and X. Give us a follow and a subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. Give us a thumbs up as well. That would rock. You can follow me on X at the Batcave OOTBS. I'd appreciate the follow. I follow back as long as you're a real person and not one of those scams. I see them a lot. And my YouTube channel as well. I'd appreciate a subscribe if you would sub to that. If you do that, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. Out of the Box Sports, that's the YouTube channel you should sub to. But if you're feeling generous and you want to sub to my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it. That's at the Batcave underscore OOTBSE. My YouTube channel, once again, is at the Batcave underscore OOTBSE. And that has specifically all of my content. But check out of the Box Sports, their YouTube at OOTBox Sports for all of the out of the box sports content. They got some great stuff there. A lot of good coverage. So, all right. So that's all I have for today. Like I said, great stuff happening. Eddie had a couple comments here I missed. Judge wouldn't have had the season he had without Soto. I mean, historically, Judge probably would have. I mean, year in and year out, he's had some monster seasons. He did have 62 home runs, or without Soto there. I mean, so yeah, I know, Eddie. The home runs don't count. You don't like home runs, but they count. They count. They count for something, right? So, and Corbin Burns. I don't know. I just don't know if the Mets are going to go out and sign him now because they signed Soto. Do they look at more bats? And again, do they go pick the route? Do the Mets go the same route they did last year? That's my biggest question right now. Do the Mets go the same route they did last year with reclamation project pitching, which worked out fantastic for us last season? Absolutely, awesome. It couldn't have went any better, in my opinion, last season with the pitching. I do firmly believe the Mets should re-sign Sean Manaea. That's probably, in my opinion, that's near the top of the list. Bring Manaea in and go from there. Personally, selfishly, again, a Pete Alonso, but as a Mets fan, I think the next step should be pitching. And I say a perfect spot to start would be Sean Manaea and see where we go from there. And maybe trade for Luis Castillo. I don't see them getting Corbin Burns, Max Fried. I think Fried stays in Atlanta. Corbin Burns is going to go somewhere. I think Corbin Burns is going to go to either the Yankees or the Giants. I don't know. The Giants. I always say the Giants for some reason. I don't know why. All right. So that's all I have. A great day to be a Mets fan. If you're a big Juan Soto fan, which all of us Mets fans are now big Juan Soto fans for the next 15 years at least. And hopefully this leads to some World Series championships, plural. One's going to be awesome, but we want multiple, and we want it should lead to some great battles with the Dodgers. That's at least on the horizon there. That should be something to watch for, and it's gonna force some other teams to really up their games, like the Phillies. Their spending game anyway, and see what they do next. The Phillies, the Cubs, the Giants, the Brewers, which is a small market team, not really known for their spending. But these other National League teams are on notice now. Mets and Dodgers put them on notice, and let's see how they respond. Let's see who steps up. Maybe not this year, but next year, over the next couple of years, and joins the arms race. So, all right. So that's all I have. Thank you, everybody, for checking the show out. I appreciate it very much. And until next time, let's go Mets.